Are tuning in outside of the state. We have viewers all around, just letting you know to be weather aware and weather alert. There is a tornado watch that is in effect. That includes places like Peoria, back towards Macon, Cedar Rapids area, and Des Moines. And you can see that goes through 10 p.m. So a very, very stormy night across the Midwest, and a severe thunderstorm watch has popped up. Main concerns there back towards Kansas City, damaging winds and large hail. What's interesting, look at what's happening just up the road here. We're seeing blizzard conditions that's been happening across the Dakotas, a very energetic system, and there's still a chance that we could see that severe risk ramp up again around states like Arkansas during the overnight and into tomorrow. So that's what we're going to be tracking. That system is going to weaken quite a bit as it moves our way into tomorrow night. And this is what we're thinking. If there are any storms that manage to sneak in, keep in mind, again, this will be weakening as it moves in, but I can't totally rule out. You can see the adjusted areas there to the north and west. This is where our team's thinking that we could see the greatest risk for a strong storm if one of those manages to reach our area. Isolated tornado can't totally be ruled out. Large hail, damaging wind gusts. When would this happen? A brief window tomorrow night, 11 p.m. to about 1 a.m. on Thursday morning. After that, anything that moves in is going to weaken quite a bit as those storms move on to the east. But you can see temperatures again in the 80s. This is just ground clutter. We kept that small 20% chance of a shower in the forecast, and we've seen some clouds, but not a lot of rain showing up out there, and we should stay mostly dry as we go into this evening. That's a live look from Birmingham, Alabama, high atop Red Mountain, and we got the clouds rolling in, and temperature-wise, you can see in the 80s for this evening, very warm with winds out of the south at 5 to 10, and we got that breeze today. I know we were talking about that wind picking up out there. That's helped us out with the comfort levels with these rising temperatures. Record set in Tuscaloosa today, a new record high of 87 degrees. Here's what's coming up, and we're going to have that full 7-day forecast as we continue right here. We're going to check in on the beach forecast, a story about storm shelters in Samantha, and we're also going to talk about the possibility of maybe another cool down as we continue right here. Lots coming up on Weather Extra.
We know weather can be grab the umbrella or jogging shoes, but it's so much more. It's a science, an art, led by knowledge and experience.
And no one has more of that than a WBRC First Alert weather team.
Warning you first with more hours committed to you. And the first forecast built to see weeks, days, and even minutes ahead, right down to where you live. From the team you trust on your favorite screen.
Doing the weather better. The WBRC First Alert weather team, always on your side.
Some people may think you're overreacting. Some may ask, is there a storm coming? That's okay, because knowing the first alert has helped you beat the rush. Being prepared puts you in control and changes the what if to you're okay. Knowing first is everything. First Alert Weather.
If you have plans for this weekend, we have a first alert for a wintry mix.
When you need to know next week, tomorrow, or even right now, the WBRC First Alert Weather Team is always on your side, whenever and wherever you need us. This is why we First Alert.
Welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. I'm meteorologist Lauren Linehan here with you on this Tuesday evening. I know a lot of you are back from spring break, but hey, maybe some of you are headed down to the coast for Easter weekend. We check in with meteorologist Matt Daniel and Mickey Ferguson for that beach forecast.
You're ready to go to the beach, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Yes, I mean the 80s today has been really warm, yeah, thinking about going there. I know a lot of people are back from spring break, but who says you can't just make a quick visit later on this week, right?
I think some guy named Steve said that one time. Anyway, we're looking at a beach forecast Wednesday into Thursday, and a little bit cloudy, but you know you can still get a sunburn at the beach with overcast skies.
Can you?
Yeah, you ought to know.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because I have a look at that UV index. I bet you didn't know that was coming up.
Sure did.
We're looking at a very high chance, high numbers for that UV index. So despite the cloud cover, as you were just pointing out, you can still get that sunburn. So make sure you apply it and stay safe.
I get it right every now and then.
You're good, you're good. Let's talk about those rain chances for the Gulf Coast over the next several days. This is showing up for a Wednesday afternoon, and as you can see, lots of clouds around, but temperatures in the 70s, Mickey.
Yeah, it looks nice. You know, a lot of folks finished up their spring break and could see a few showers going into Thursday, but not much.
Yeah, then by Friday, mostly dry, a few showers possible, but look at Saturday.
Ruh-roh.
Yep, got a little bit of rain in there, so
we might dry out for the latter part of Easter weekend, but it looks like they might see a few showers there going into Saturday. And how about these rainfall totals?
Just looking ahead, this is from the Weather Prediction Center, and they're forecasting maybe about 3/4 of an inch to an inch of rainfall on the Gulf Coast over the next 5 to 7 days. So just want to give you that first alert for that rain, especially as we go into Saturday. And of course, want to talk about the rip current threat. And as we go into tomorrow and Thursday, it's actually going to be a high rip current threat. So want to stay out of the waters. Winds are going to be very breezy from the south at 10 to 20 miles an hour. And then it drops down to that moderate threat for Friday going into the weekend. But notice those water temperatures in the lower 70s, and probably wouldn't surprise me if that rip current threat goes back to high Saturday as that front gets closer to the Gulf Coast.
I wish we had a 7-day beach forecast is what I would.
You saw this ahead of
Oh
time.
my goodness, looky there. We're looking at that chance of showers at 30% on Thursday. Friday 30%, but then we ramp it up a little bit for Saturday.
And then on, of course, Easter Sunday, just a few showers possible, temperatures in the 70s, drying out hopefully by Monday. But of course, no matter where you go, you can download the WBRC First Alert Weather app.
Been a while since you've been to the beach?
It has been.
Me too, I'm ready to
Kind
go.
of pill, so you know, need to.
Take the sunscreen.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks, Matt and Mickey, for that. Well, storm safety, outside of sunscreen safety, storm safety just got a little more secure in northern Tuscaloosa County in the Samantha community, where there's now a second tornado shelter. County leaders say the Samantha community is growing, and it just made sense to get another shelter. The new one was built next door to the original one to the tune of $80,000. Our Brian Henry tells us more.
The Tube Light shelter is a replica of the old one, made of steel, strong, well-grounded, tough enough to withstand the most vicious tornado, according to County Commissioner Stan Acker.
They're supposedly fully rated, the FEMA approved shelters, fully, as good as we can get.
So a few years ago,
6 years ago, the county built the community's first shelter. Adding another one was necessary, county officials said, because you have Walker Elementary School nearby and the Samantha Volunteer Fire Department on the other side. Becky Booker is the marketing manager for the Tuscaloosa County Park and Recreation Authority.
identical to the first, holds about 50 people, and is activated by the Samantha Volunteer Fire Department.
The new one cost $80,000, according to Commissioner Acker. The community now has 2 shelters. Both are here to provide protection, and if recent history is any guide, they could be used more often than not.
You know, there has been, well, especially lately, we've seen more severe weather, more tornadic weather, and, you know, there is definitely a need in the rural areas for more storm shelters.
And the Tuscaloosa Parks and Recreation Association says a formal dedication of the new shelter will take place next week. When 2 kids heard about the Apollo Theater catastrophe Friday night in Belvidere, Illinois, they took some super friends of their own to protect the city. 23 News reporter Anthony Ferretti talks to their kids and their mom about how this gesture can bring hope and provide closure to the families impacted by this tragedy.
What do you hope that these superheroes can do for the city?
Help the Apollo Theater and save the day. Belvidere strong.
The news of the Apollo Theater collapse that left 1 person dead and dozens more injured didn't just impact adults, but these 2 brothers who wanted to do something for those impacted by Friday's tragedy.
Save the day and help the person that was hurt.
They brought several of their toys to the Kishwaukee River near the Apollo Theater to watch over the city of Belvedere on Saturday.
We just started to kind of like get nervous because we both feel real bad.
This one especially was super upset in the morning, felt almost sick to his stomach, he said. They got their ideas together and figured out, instead of stuffed animals, because we normally do stuffed animals, we wanted to do superheroes.
These are our favorites and we wanted to give it to the person that was hurt.
The Thomas kids previously set up stuffed animals on 19th Street in Rockford, where Jordan Thomas, who is of no relation, was shot and killed almost 2 years ago. Their mom says she didn't expect them to do anything like this.
We got everything ready and hurried up and tried to get down here before it got too crowded, because it was a very busy scene down here. But I was super proud.
Despite this small gesture, Kayla Thomas couldn't believe the amount of people who have noticed what her kids have done for the city.
Basically that my kids touched them and that they also wanted to join in and everybody come together and be strong together.
We love to see kids coming together for that. In the meantime, here in central Alabama, we do have the possibility of some strong storms, at least across northwest Alabama for tomorrow night. Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt talks more about that as he shows us that super 7-day forecast. And I'll take you beyond the 7-day. We'll be right back.
Does your bathtub look like this? Are you constantly cleaning your shower, but the stains and discoloration just won't go away? Or maybe you're just hoping to freshen up your bathroom with something new and modern. If this is you, you may be planning on attending one of the local home shows. Well, stay tuned. Today I'm joined by Kirsten with a special announcement that's going to make the whole project easier and more affordable. Kirsten.
So Joe, we know that people are busier than ever right now. The last thing they want to do is spend hours of time on the weekend fighting traffic and all the long lines at the home shows. Well, to save time, folks should give us a call right now and get this limited time offer. We're taking 20% off all shower and bath projects, and we're offering some amazing financing. It's 12 months of no payments and no interest. That means you don't need to pay a penny on your project until an entire year after your installation is complete.
So you're saying if I start my project now, I don't have to put any money down, I get 20% off the entire project, and you're offering no payments, no interest financing for a full year. That's pretty incredible.
It really is. We understand that most people have a long list of renovations that they want to do around the house, so we're making it easier than ever to knock out that shower project right now.
That's fantastic. Well, Kirsten, how else are you making this whole project easy?
So Joe, people's biggest fear when doing a project like this is picking out something they're not going to be happy with. Well, we eliminate that fear by bringing the home show to you. When you give us a call, we'll send one of our shower and bath experts out for a free in-home design consultation. They'll bring an iPad and a sample kit to let you design the shower or bath of your dreams. Before the appointment is over, you'll see what the new shower will look like, eliminating all of the guesswork out of the project.
Kirsten, thanks. Folks, call the number on your screen right now to speak with a West Shore Home representative and to receive this limited time offer. Call in now to get 20% off your shower or bath project. Plus, they're doing 12 months of no payments and no interest financing. That means you don't need to make your first payment until 12 months after your installation is complete. Call West Shore Home now.
All right, keeping a watch on that radar, but all dry at the moment. Just some clouds moving in here as we go to First Alert AccuTrack. You can see there in West Alabama. Now some of those clouds moving in around Birmingham and over into Shelby County. Coleman County still seeing some nice breaks, but the radar showing some active weather happening back to the northwest. There you go. You can see that risk we told you about. There's a tornado warning. Looks like that's popped up there. Let's see which area is being impacted. It looks like here around Peoria, we now have a tornado warning. That storm's moving towards Macomb, so a first alert there around Harris, Macomb areas, and that is a bad storm out there, all isolated like that. You typically see those discrete storms, so many times they don't have a lot of competition. Those can sometimes you see those longer track tornadoes with storms like that, so folks need to be seeking shelter and taking immediate action from that tornado warning. A lot of active weather's been happening across the Midwest, along and west of the Mississippi River. What's going to be happening for us is as that system gets closer, let's take a look at our Wednesday here, and you can see how most of the day will be dry. There's lunchtime, and we will warm up close to 90 degrees tomorrow afternoon. It's going to be a very warm day. I mentioned earlier we set a record high of 87 today in Tuscaloosa. And by the way, we're just 58 days away from the arrival of meteorological summer. Late tomorrow night, you can see that line as it approaches. There's 9 p.m. and moving into our northwest areas. And right as that moves in, if we see anything severe, that's the main window we'll have to watch out for. After that, this thing is going to weaken. It stalls out. So what happens is we have this leftover line that's dissipating, and we'll get some more scattered shower and possibly a storm developing right in this general vicinity where that system just really slows. It kind of stalls out. That's going to be around 6 a.m. Thursday morning. So there's a chance East Alabama, areas south to Birmingham, we may enjoy a dry period there Thursday morning, but then that rain-cooled air is eventually going to make its way across the state. You can see how the models are picking up on this, kind of like a little outflow boundary. And once that moves through, one thing we'll notice on Thursday, and we have a high of 87, but it's going to feel a little bit cooler once that passes through. And that's just going to keep us cloudy. Maybe a few showers will catch a break. We'll kind of see a little bit of a lull in the activity going into Thursday evening. But then what happens, another disturbance rolls along, and right along that front, well, it's going to cause another increase, another surge of rain and storm development for Friday and also on Saturday. So as we look at the rain chances here, we could catch a few breaks, as you'll see there for Thursday. Notice 40% chance in the PM, but then Friday, well, all bets off for the morning and afternoon. We could see some rain early and afternoon, so take advantage of any breaks that we're able to enjoy there on Friday. Could be rainy at times. Not really seeing severe weather here. Mostly a lot of rain, maybe a few rumbles in the mix there as we go into the weekend. Let's talk about Easter weekend. Here's Saturday, and you can see 80% chance of rain. The good news is the European data, a lot of the deterministic data, we didn't see a lot of agreement yesterday. Some models kept the rain around Sunday morning, but now we're seeing better agreement that this will move out early on Sunday. So I'm happy to report that we have backed off quite a bit on rain chances Sunday. Looking better there for any plans there after church service. Maybe get together for an Easter egg hunt, lunch plans, photos, grandma's house there on Sunday. Looks nice there with that 20% chance of a shower, a high of 67 degrees. And the rest of the 7-day, at least for Monday and Tuesday, it looks like things finally kind of settled down. Not a bad week here coming up next week, and looks like going into next weekend. In fact, meteorologist Lauren Linehan joining us now to take us beyond the 7-day forecast. And Lauren, we need a little bit of a break here.
Yeah, Wes, we definitely need a break. And I got to say, it looks pretty good. Like we potentially will get a break as we get to 6 to 10 days from now. And of course, still showing that, well, maybe warm, not just here in the southeast, but look at that across the Midwest and the Great Plains, much warmer than average. But that does include us here in Alabama, and we are expecting temperatures to not just feel spring-like, but maybe late spring-like, early summer-like as we look ahead here. So let's look beyond the 7-day. Check it out. It looks like a steady temperature trend. Even though we mentioned this cool down going into Easter weekend, once we get past that, temperatures steadily climbing to the 70s, if not the 80s, the weekend after Easter. I mean, we're talking mid upper 80s, similar to what we saw today with that average high right around 72 degrees. You know, a lot of you have been wondering, when can I do some planting? Well, we normally say, hey, wait until after Easter and you're looking good. And I think we see that proof right here. Our average low this time of the year, right around 49. So temperature should be in the 50s going into next week, and then maybe even getting into the 60s going into next weekend. Of course, you see that warmer weather. You're like, does that mean there could be some severe weather in the forecast? Well, hey, check this out. It actually looks like 6 to 10 days from now, the dominant pattern may very well be below average precipitation. It's been quite a minute since we've seen that, especially here in 2023. So let's look at beyond the 7-day. Here we are into next Tuesday, potentially showing a low off of the coast of Georgia and the Carolinas. That would be to our east. So that wouldn't be an issue for us as far as we know for now. Looks like it would stay outside of our area. But with that low off to our east, that would kind of promote some northerly flow, and that would keep us drier. And then we also see what looks to be a ridge of high pressure building in over the southeast. That could definitely influence our temperatures. When you see these ridges develop in the atmosphere, that oftentimes allows temperatures to run above average if you're sitting above that or below that. So here we are going into the weekend of the 15th. That's Saturday. Looks like any rain would be closer to the Gulf Coast, staying dry here in Alabama. But then once we get past that following weekend, here we are Monday, April 17th. So 2 weeks from now, we begin to see a system potentially coming into Alabama and putting an end to that dry spell. So we'll keep an eye on things, but if you're tired of this unsettled, stormy weather, we do have some hope on the horizon. But coming up next on Weather Extra, also some hope for female farmers up in Minnesota and some crazy video of a whale attack in California. We'll be right back.
We heard the first alert. Mom says we have to go. She says I don't have time to grab any more toys.
Need to be in your tornado safe place. Get there right now as you have.
We have to get to our safe place because sometimes when you hear the siren, it's too late. That's why she says knowing first is everything.
We know weather can be grab the umbrella or jogging shoes, but it's so much more. It's a science, an art, led by knowledge and experience.
And no one has more of that than a WBRC First Alert weather team.
Warning you first with more hours committed to you. And the first forecast built to see weeks, days, and even minutes ahead, right down to where you live. From the team you trust on your favorite screen.
Doing the weather better. The WBRC First Alert weather team, always on your side.
The first alert is more than a warning. It's a promise. A promise to get you out of harm's way with plenty of time to spare. 4 walls and a roof can be replaced. Lives can't. That's why knowing first is everything. First Alert weather.
Welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. I'm meteorologist Lauren Linehan. Farmers in Minnesota will start on spring planting soon. Goodness knows we've already been doing that here around Alabama. But the landscape of agriculture is also changing up near the Great Lakes. Women now run 1/3 of all Minnesota farms. John Lawrence reports on this blossoming trend.
We have 66 as a full barn.
At Gatewood Farm near Wilmer. Christy Gatewood is working full-time, while she also works full-time at another job in town. She's early to rise each day, making sure the dairy cows are milked and the other animals are taken care of.
We have the horse and the donkey, peacocks, chickens for eggs.
Christy grew up raising hogs and growing corn and soybeans. A few years ago, she married into her husband's dairy operation, and as she's become one of the main operators here, she's joined Elite Company.
According to an agriculture census, there are now nearly 20,000 farms in the state where a woman is the primary operator.
That equates to about 1/3 of all farms in the state, numbers that continue to grow.
I am proud to say I'm the 4th generation.
A few miles away from Gatewood Farm is Fixin' Farms. That's where you'll find Sarah Lushik. She left corporate America a decade ago to take over her family's century-old farmstead.
Early on, we raised hemp, potatoes, lots of different. It was just a completely different farm way back in the history, but today, strictly corn and soybeans.
And as she gets ready for spring planting, she credits technology for giving her and other women opportunities like this. As a precision farmer, she uses software to map out when and where she wants to plant.
When that seed hits the ground, if we don't do it right, if we don't place it right, we can't fix it. With technology, it has allowed others to enter into agriculture as well.
No matter how this year's crop turns out, both Sarah and Christy are sure of one thing. They want to inspire the next generation of women in agriculture.
There's so many avenues now to agriculture. You know, it used to be just on the farm. Well, now there's so much more.
The farm is always busy. It is nice to be able to be your own boss.
Well, we love to hear that. The USDA Agriculture Census estimates that women are also the primary decision makers on nearly 60% of farms and ranches in Minnesota. So a rare moment caught on video. More than 30 orcas attacked 2 gray whales in Monterey Bay, California last Thursday. A member of a whale watching group just happened to witness the attack and recorded it.
I have been on boats since I was a small child. I have never witnessed anything like this in my life. We got a call about quarter way through our trip yesterday. There was a group of killer whales attacking 2 gray whales. We usually see mid-April through mid-May killer whales doing predating on the calves of the gray whales. This boat was reporting adult gray whales, so it was definitely something odd in our nonprofit's 30 years of data. Typical to see these attacks during mid-April through mid-May. Some years we see more than others. Some years we see less than others. It all depends on the gray whale population and the calving grounds. The gray whales, the species that they're going after that time of year, spend the winter in the calving and mating lagoons of Baja, Mexico.
Killer whales are, of course, very complex animals. It's hard to attribute any of their actions to any one thing. However, when you think about them feeding on adult gray whales early in the season, something they wouldn't normally do, it could point to a lack of other food availability. If they're normally going after seals, sea lions, and dolphins during this time of year, if they aren't, instead they're targeting adult gray whales, which is definitely something that's harder to do, something harder to take down, something as big as an adult gray whale. If we hadn't been out there yesterday, we wouldn't have known that this happened.
Personally, this was a very special encounter I'll remember for the rest of my life.
The attack lasted about 6 hours before the gray whale split up and escaped to shallow waters. So outside of what we've been seeing in terms of the rain here in central Alabama, we've got another chance to see some rain as we go into tomorrow. But Tuscaloosa County recreation leaders officially opened the new eco trail near the airport for when we do have those drier days. It's located closer to Tuscaloosa, so if you just go down I-20, you'll be right there. The new eco trail has an education element to it, a focus on native plants and different trails that branch off the main route. Can't wait to go and explore there. And we've had some nice dry weather today. Now tomorrow, most of tomorrow is going to be dry, but as we get into Wednesday night, we do have a first alert for some storms, especially in northwest Alabama. And then on Thursday, more of us getting in on those scattered storms. I think the best chance to see a strong storm would be areas to the northwest. And then tomorrow as well, going to be on the warm side. Temperatures well into the 80s, but gradual cool down as we go into the weekend. Friday and Saturday are looking wet. First alert for some soggy weather, but because we will have all that rain around and a cold front coming through, looks like it's going to be cooler for Easter weekend. Sunday at least is going to be a better day if you have any Easter egg hunts. Saturday though, very well could be a washout, if not Friday as well. But I promise things are looking up as we get into next week. So Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt will talk more about that improving forecast next week tonight on First at 9. But you can catch us back here on Weather Extra every weeknight, Monday through Friday at 6:30 on your favorite streaming platform. I'm meteorologist Lauren Linehan. Have a safe and happy Tuesday evening.